want to talk about a PC game which unfortunately is digital only. Cry of Fear. Yeah, it was developed by a small development team called Team Sci-Scalar. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, they're a small development team from Europe, and the game's based on a teenager called Simon, who is just walking down the street one night, and he encounters this injured man on the side of the road, and he goes over to help him, and then all of a sudden this car comes out of nowhere, runs him over, and then he wakes up in an alleyway, not knowing what the hell just happened or what's going on, and he receives a text message on his phone. I'm guessing it's his mother, father, whoever, saying, "Where are you? You need to come home." Blah 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 blah. So basically, you're just trying to find your way home, and obviously things get really weird really quickly. Some of the monster designs in this is actually, some people would consider generic, but it didn't bother me too much, to be honest. I mean, there's one in particular that looks like Michael Myers, and he carries a hammer around. But I mean, the jump scares, there is jump scares in the game, but to me they're spaced out nicely, so they don't become predictable, if you know what I mean. But I mean, like, the monster design is it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But I mean, more notably, there's a monster in particular which is quite horrible, actually. It's like a girl in a dress, but it looks really fucked up. Like it's got like spikes for legs and spikes for arms, and when you eventually kill it, it stabs itself in the throat, and it sounds like a screaming baby or something like that. So the first time I encountered that, I was just like, oh my god, that is just so horrible, disturbing. Another one, looks like Samara from The Ring, except it sort of just floats towards it, like twitching. And another thing about it, which is quite cool, it influences you to commit suicide. Like, if you look at it for too long, like, you'll see your gun getting like closer to your face like this, and you have to keep pressing the mouse button to resist the influence to fucking kill yourself until you shoot it dead or whatever. There's another one which looks pretty much the same, except it runs after you with a knife. You first encounter these when you go to you're walking through the forest part of the game, and the thing is, you never see them first, you always hear them first before you see them, and the noise is just, it's horrible. All you can hear is that's all you hear, and then you're getting slashed by about 3 of them. You run really fast as well. At that point, you've only got a fucking branch from a tree to defend yourself with, and you know, up to that point you've had much better weapons. So when you get to that point, you feel really vulnerable. I mean, especially in the forest, because it's fucking pitch black. You've got your lantern, you can only see it like a couple of feet in front of yourself, and it's like, when you get to that point in the game, man, it's just like it's just constant feeling of dread. I mean, the whole game is like that. It's like you feel on edge like the majority of the time. You never feel safe, ever. I think you might feel safe like once or twice, maybe in like you end up in an apartment building, and in a certain one of the rooms there'll be a save point or whatever, and like that's probably the only time you'll feel safe, like, at all. The weapons in the game, they're actually they're not too over the top, but like, I mean, at first you start off with like a pocket knife, a flick knife, and then you pick up a Glock 9mm, which is pretty cool. I mean, you can iron sight on this game as well, which isn't necessary, but you know, it's a nice touch. You get a shotgun. What else? Bloody hell, mine's gone blank now. You get a a VP70, which is like an old HK pistol, but it's got like 3-round burst, and you get an M16 as well, which is nice, but I think having an M16 is a bit excessive. But oh, another thing as well, if you donate to the donate some money to the development team, they give you a TMP submachine gun, which is nice. I haven't done it yet, but you know, I do plan to. There's also parts of the game where it's like a nightmare world sort of thing, and if anyone's ever played Max Payne, there's nightmare parts in that game where, and like that is pretty much the same. You can tell that they've probably taken an influence from that. Yeah, them bits are really fucked up. Like the world's really twisted. Like you'll get to certain points and like the world's like, oh, it's hard to explain. Like you'll see it, like you'll see a corridor, but like it will stretch, or it'll just randomly just go up like that, and like you look up and it just carries on and carries on. Like you can't go any further, so you've got to backtrack and, you know, find another way. Cryfear itself, there was actually another game made before it called Afraid of Monsters, which is pretty much like a sort of beta version, I think, or it's just like a prototype version of the game. That wasn't a bad game either, but once you've played Cryfear and then you play Afraid of Monsters, you kind of wish you played Afraid of Monsters first, because you do see like the similarities, although main characters in Afraid of Monsters is different. He's a drug addict or something like that, and he's like trying to fight his own personal battle against being a drug addict. To be honest, the only bad things I can say about the game really is some of the jumping mechanics were a bit frustrating. Like you would get to points where you find yourself repeating a certain jump, because like the jumping mechanics just, to be honest, are pretty old school. Like a lot of the jumps you had to do were like crouch jumps, where you would jump and then press crouch quickly. So it's like you jump and then crouch, and then that'd get you on whatever surface it was. Yes, so some of the jumps were fucking so frustrating. Like especially when you had to get to, well, you had to do like a series of difficult jumps like that, and you get killed by, maybe it was a boss or just a group of monsters or whatever, and having to reload your game and do that over and over and over again, that got really annoying. What else? Reloading the Glock or the VP70, the reloading was a bit troublesome, I think, because if you say you had 3 rounds left in the clip of the gun, and you reload the weapon, those 3 bullets that are in the clip at the time get deleted completely. Like it doesn't, you know, it doesn't go back to whatever ammo that you've got left. Like it just automatically deletes. So that was a pain in the ass. Like you get to, like you would say you got into a fight with some monsters, and like you have to empty the whole clip and then reload, because I mean that got me in trouble a lot of times, because it was just a pain. It was just a pain, that really. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have fixed that. I mean, maybe they might put a patch on it or something like that to sort that problem out, because it was a bit of a pain. Backtracking in the game was a fucking nightmare as well. I mean, you get to a certain point in the game, you think you're making progress, and you find out that you have to backtrack to this other place, and then you have to go back again. I mean, first time you play this game, it's gonna fucking ruin you. It is, because it's quite a long game. I mean, especially through your first playthrough, you will spend a lot of time on it. But once you've completed it once and you replay it again, you pretty much know what to do. so obviously backtracking is, well, first time around it's a pain in the arse, second time you know what you're doing, so it's not too bad. But yeah, last thing I was going to say, I think it's a real shame that this game is a digital only game, because I personally think it deserves a physical copy. I would love a physical copy of this game. It's just a shame that you know, the team hasn't, you know, maybe got the resources to make a physical copy of it. I mean, it'd be great if someone made like an Indiegogo page or something like that, or a Kickstarter to fund the company to make a physical release, or a limited amount of physical releases. That'd be great. I'd throw me money at it, definitely, because, you know, there's nothing better than having your games on a shelf. I mean, I hate this digital only bollocks. I mean, I've got a Steam account, which it's on Steam for free, by the way. It doesn't cost a penny. So for what the game is, it's completely worth it. It's free to play, so, you know, I recommend anyone who's got a Steam account to get it. But yeah, I really wish that, you know, we had a physical copy as well. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it, really. Just fucking do yourselves a favour and play it. You know, it will scare the fucking shit out of you. Right, so that's me. I'll see you next time. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to review next, because I don't want to give it away. So, take it easy.